Hello world. Today I'm going to be making another reaction video to the content of Heavy Weights Light Feels because this has really become the only way for me to effectively communicate with this person. So I will continue to engage in this manner, and I will, as requested, post a link to the video that I'm reacting to in the description of this video. So let's get started.
What's good? What's good? Last night's debate. That's what was good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so right out the gate, I can't really agree. I watched the debate. I've now watched it a couple times. The first Republican primary debate was not very good in my opinion, but it was really more of like a dumpster fire, if you ask me. As I said, that's just my opinion, though.
The more and more I hear Vivek Ramaswamy talk, the more and more I fall in love. And I have the receipts to prove what I'm about to say next.
Yeah, so what he's about to say next is his videos are the receipts, which is totally fine. But to the point he made about loving what Vivek is saying, I also can't really agree because I've been consuming as much content of his as I possibly can. Vivek's, that is, if you want to call it content. But I've been following him rather closely, and I will provide some receipts for that as well. And the more and more that I hear him, the more and more I just sort of get the impression that he's a dumb guy trying to sound smart.
Because I have been making the videos and I've been saying for years now that we need to dismantle the government. And I always say that I agree with the leftists.
Yeah, so I guess he wants to dismantle the government and considers himself like an anarchist, and that is definitely a topic I would like to have a conversation with him about.
It's on a lot of things. Like, I absolutely hate the military industrial complex. Holy fucking shit.
Yeah, so if you hate the military industrial complex and you agree with the left on things, I feel like the whole big pharma is bad thing is kind of a lefty position. And when we go to Vivek's Wikipedia page, we can see that he is an American businessman and political candidate. He founded Roivant Sciences, a pharmaceutical company, in 2014. And then going down, we can see in August 2023, Forbes estimated Ramaswamy's net worth at more than $950 million, mostly spread over his stakes in biotech and other financial businesses. So just short of $50 million of being a literal pharma billionaire, which is maybe something we could share in a criticism of Vivek.
It is disturbing. It is disgusting. It is a dark stain on our country's resume or whatever, on our country's image. I like Vivek because he talks about like the potential that America could be. I've literally said this in my videos that America has not lived up to its potential, and so that's like it's so damn refreshing to see someone saying that on a major mainstream stage.
Yeah, so I mean, if you ask me, in my opinion, I think that whole concept of America hasn't lived up to its potential is kind of a standard GOP talking point. I'll have to come up with some receipts for that, but I feel like I hear it from that side a lot. This idea that America hasn't lived up to its potential, and the fact that Vivek is saying it doesn't feel new to me.
It's exciting and encouraging because although I do believe anarchy is the ultimate solution, I don't believe we're going to get there overnight. I don't believe we can just like snap our fingers and decide to do that. Absolutely not. I think part of what will enable anarchism to be successful when it is time is the revelation of the depths of corruption that have been occurring in my lifetime and even before my lifetime and even through most of America's life. Like I don't
Yeah, so just to sort of try to steelman his argument here again, I feel like what he's saying is that once, the corruption that exists within our government, the sort of anarchist utopia can be pursued more fully at that point. But that is just me trying to steelman his argument again.
don't even think we were fundamentally started on the best basis and foundation we could have been. However, we have an opportunity anew to build once we intentionally dismantle the system. Where I disagree with the leftists is, we don't need to build a communist utopia. And this,
Yeah, so he falls into the unfortunate habit of thinking that like every leftist is a communist. And I guess that's just not the case, especially here in America. But really, it's kind of interesting that he accuses them of wanting a communist utopia when he alludes to the concept of an anarchist utopia quite a bit.
this is why I like Vivek, because he talks about self-responsibility and personal accountability and responsibility. So anyways, moral of the story is, not moral of the story, but the point of this video is this is exactly how you handle warmongers and neoliberal and neoconservative pieces of political trash. Look at this, like, just this little quip he makes absolutely just ended her campaign.
Yeah, so unfortunately for Andrew, after this debate and most analysis is actually pointing to how well Nikki Haley actually did, and you're gonna mention that to be fair. But yeah, the idea that this is gonna like end her campaign, to me, once again, just kind of sounds silly.
And I think overall she performed well. I think, was she the only woman on stage? I'm pretty sure she was the only woman on stage.
I mean, yeah, it's a GOP primary debate. She's definitely going to be the one, if any, female on stage.
But no, she did, handled herself fairly well. I disagree with her, and I think she's a see you next Tuesday.
And the whole see you next Tuesday thing, like it kind of makes me laugh. But I do actually wonder if it's like, are you afraid to say the word, or are you trying to be funny? Because it is a good joke.
But that's besides the point. He ended her career. Let's watch this.
First of all, Mr. Ramaswamy, you have 30 seconds. Mr.
Nikki, I wish you well in your future career on the boards of Lockheed
right there. But the fact of the matter,
Yeah, so he shows like a 10-second clip and then makes like a 7-minute reaction video to the 10 seconds that he shows. And even with all of the commentary he makes, I don't feel like he's really providing a whole lot of context here.
You got real defensive real quick. Obviously, right now you're not on the boards. That's the point, Nikki, is that in the future, it's going to be so funny when your political career fizzles out and you do end up on some boards, because that is an absolutely true quip. There are so many governmental agency directors that move from the public sector to the private sector and vice versa. It's a revolving door, the public and private sector relation.
Yeah, so the revolving door is totally a concept that I teach in my government class. And once again, just going to the Google here. So from opensecrets.org, a revolving door that shuffles former federal employees into jobs as lobbyists, consultants, and strategists. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure the exact term that he uses to describe federal employees, but Nikki Haley's experience as a federal employee, as far as I know, only extends to the couple years that she spent as Trump's ambassador to the UN. Previously, I believe she was the governor of South Carolina, and that's not a federal job. Gubernatorial positions are not federal. And so as far as I know, she's not really like one of these federal employees that's going to be shuffling into the private sector, which is really what they're talking about, is more like members of Congress and executive branch members, sort of going from political positions to the private sector.
Relationships of executives and administrative officials. That's the administrative state, the fascist bureaucratic administrative state that I talk about. That leftists also hate the corporatocracy. Like, I totally agree. We're like being ruled by a corporatocracy.
Yeah, so like I guess in the conception of the communist utopia or the anarchist utopia that he envisions, I imagine that corporations wouldn't actually exist, but the unfortunate fact is that corporations sort of inevitably and inherently become a feature of any capitalist economy.
And that's essentially what fascism is a corporatocracy of the state and corporations working together for the national good in a patriotic sense, right? And that's not.
Yeah, so he continually seems to revert back to this idea that fascism is really just when business and government work together. And I mean, under that sort of definition or conception of fascism, really things like the FDIC or the TVA would qualify as fascism, and those are just like New Deal programs, which, you know, arguably could be called socialist, but fascist, I don't know about that. But to get even more esoteric, I am actually going to link a couple of videos related to fascism, because Heavyweights Light Feels seems to bring this topic up a lot. And one of the most convincing ideas that I've come across is palingenetic ultranationalism, concept concerning generic fascism formulated by British political theorist Roger Griffin. the key element of the idea is the belief that fascism can be defined by its core myth, namely that of revolution to achieve a quote unquote national rebirth. Palingenesis. There we go. So fascism and anarchism are two topics that I really want to discuss further with this person.
Sorry, I'm getting worked up and I don't need to be. I get worked up because it's like I agree with y'all on so much, but then you say crazy things like Vivek Ramaswamy is racist.
And this is another one I'm like curious who is calling Vivek a racist, because this, in all of the material that I've been trying to consume on him, I haven't come across anybody calling him a racist.
I think because of his positions on the border, that makes him racist. It just blows my mind that like being pro border control or border security, it makes you.
Yeah, so I guess the argument that people are making is that his border policies make him racist, and this is really kind of another straw man that the right throws at the left all the time, is that like people on the left are advocating for open borders. Like, I don't know any leftist that is actually doing that.
Racist. I was watching the Rational National. Maybe I'll tag them. I've never heard of them, but I was watching their stream of the debate.
Yeah, so he's talking about the Rational National and how he's never heard of them. And he says they multiple times, referring to what I believe actually was the leftist mafia, which is a podcast that the Rational National David Dole contributes to sometimes. And as you can see here, Dave Dole has 500,000 subscribers. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that he's never heard of this person. And also he continually refers to the Rational National as they. And once again, I'm pretty sure he's talking about this podcast that includes some other pretty big name YouTubers, Matt Binder from the Majority Report, or a contributor to the Majority Report, and then also Mike Figueredo from the Humanist Report. These are not exactly like lightweights in the YouTube world, and it's just kind of interesting what he has to say about them.
They were insufferable. Ugh. Like, I think one of them advocated for Vivek. He should have been bullied as a kid. I think someone called him a bigot. It was just like, you all are so insufferable, you leftist types. Like, I don't like America right now. I don't like so much about the past, but how can like we find common ground if your default argument is an ad hominem attack, racist, sexist, classist, bigot? Like how do we have any substantive dialogue anymore? Ugh.
Yeah, I truly think me and you have substantive dialogue pretty much every time we speak. So I really hope that we could do that again at some point.
You know what? Y'all should invite me on your next stream. I'll be nice. I'll be nice. I'll be civil. I'll be cordial. I would love to be on your next stream when they do another one.
Yeah, so once again, they, or the Rational National is not they, but And I feel like this is just another sort of example of him doing the clout chasing thing. It's like, dude, you talk about me having 20 subscribers, but this person has 500,000. And you're like expecting them to have a conversation with you. It just seems kind of antithetical.
And let's iron out the details of like, explain to me how Vivek is racist. I would love that, and I will try my best to be open-minded. Absolutely, really honest to God will. Because I see multiple potential future timelines, and I want to do everything I can to contribute to building the most beautiful timeline for everyone. And I believe it is possible. I think I'm going to end the video there. Thank you very much, all. Much love.
All right. So I do think it's a pretty bold promise there to make to the leftist mafia that you'll go on their podcast and be open-minded, but I would love you to prove me wrong. If that ended up happening, honestly, my mind would be blown. But when it coming back to the main topic of the video, I just kind of think that as I do more research into Vivek, I'm less and less impressed. And yeah, I've watched the debate twice through now. I watched the interview he did with Coleon Noir, the one he did with Bill Maher, John Stossel. I watched an interview he did with Breaking Points, and I watched his David Pakman interview. So those are my receipts. I really have been consuming kind of a lot of the material that I've been able to find on Vivek. And like I said before, I continually just end up being not impressed. So I guess that's where I will wrap it up. And as always, remember that knowledge is power.